Because I came to speak to you about a reality. But what is a reality? A reality is an existence that exists regardless of your opinions on it. Let me repeat that. A reality is an existence that exists regardless on your opinion on it, regardless on what you say about it, regardless what you've heard about it, what you've seen about it. A reality is something that exists whether you like it or not. That's what a reality is. That's what I came to speak to you about. A topic that will exist whether you believe it or not. It's an existence that will always exist. Has existed before the very beginning of time. It has existed. Death. Death is an existence that exists. As much as we want to run away from it, as much as we try and put it as far away from our minds as possible, is an existence that exists. It's something that nobody in this room can run away from. They say here in America there's two things you can't cheat on: taxes and death. That's true. You can't cheat death. When the day that death says, I'm going to call you, you're gone. It will take you. But we can't see death. We can't touch death. Can't smell death. So most people say, maybe death doesn't exist. You know, that's the argument most people give for God. There was a student that went to, I believe it was USC. He had an atheist teacher. He stood up every year for 20 years and would tell the class, God is not real. If God is so real, why have I never tasted him? Why have I never touched him? Why haven't I ever seen him? Therefore, God does not exist. And the Christian student stands up in front of a class of about 100, 200 students, gets up and says, oh, really, teacher? Okay. Well, I never seen your brain, never tasted your brain, never smelled your brain. Therefore, I'm going to conclude that you are brainless. He used the very same reasoning against the teacher. But yet we were all understanding that a brain does exist. Because if not, your body cannot function. In the same manner, I tell you that your body cannot exist without a God. Without a designer. You know, scientists have had it wrong from the very beginning of time. They said the deeper microscopically we get into the body, the simpler it should become. And little to their doubt, the more high-tech they got in their microscope, the more complex the body became. Those that take an anatomy class know what I'm talking about. The closer we go into the cell, the more we find out there's a world inside a cell. The more complex it becomes, the more of a need of designer becomes realized. You live, whether you like it or not, a life by design. Bible says from the very beginning of time, from even the foundations of the earth, God says, I knew you. I knew you by name. And I formed you in your mother's womb. God is telling you, I had a relationship with you before I created you. But the key that I want you to understand is, I'm the one that created you. You are not a mistake, and you were not made by chance. For the chance of something so complex, so beautiful, so perfect to be created is not even a number that man can even comprehend. Science doesn't have a number for the probability of how crazy that number is. But yet you became alive. Because even every baby that is born is a miracle in itself. For the very beginning of your inception, you're fought so you would die. From the very beginning of your inception, you are faced in a battle for your existence, to whether you're going to survive or not. Even before you're born, you have already been in a struggle on whether you're going to exist. The life of a person, whether Christian or not, it's a struggle, it's a battle. But the problem is some make it harder than it needs to be. God made you with a design. And if you are alive, that means that you are a miracle by God because he allowed you to be created. For he created you. You're here for a purpose. You're here by design. God all is waiting for you to make a decision whether you're going to serve him or not. God has a path for you. In Deuteronomy 28, it says, you have two choices. God places life or death. God advises life. But who chooses? God or you? God advises you what path to take. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. Up to Carlos, up to Manny, up to Chelly, to make the decision whether we're going to choose life or we're going to choose death. Every day, we have to make decisions. Are we going to get in that car or not? Are we going to go to that friend's house or not? Are we going to pick that up or not? Are we going to sip that or not? Every day, we have to make decisions in life that can bless us or curse us. Take us to life or take us to death. I don't need to get specific because you know, you live it. Some of you are coming from it today. Do you understand that? That's the revelation that has reached my life. That the worst thing that can happen to me is but the best thing that can happen to me. Worst thing that can happen to me tonight is walk out those doors and a semi truck hit my car. I would die. It's a reality, whether I like it or not. Probability of that pretty high. But what's the best thing that can happen to me? Go spend eternity with God. So the worst thing that could happen to me is still the best thing that could happen to me. Because at death, in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, I'd be in the presence of an almighty God. My question is, if you understand that there is going to be an end, if this can be an expiration date, and you understand that you will meet before God that will ask you an account for everything that you did, my question then to you is, church, why do we live as if we were never going to die? That's the $1,000,000 question. Would you do the things that you do if you had a clock around you that told you the day you would die? Would you be around the friends that you're around? Would you date the people you would? Would you smoke the things that you do? Would you drink the things that you drink? Would you sneak out at 3 o'clock in the morning from the places that you do? That's my question. If your life, and you knew the day of your expiration date, would you live your life differently? Would you treat your parents differently? Because man was intended to be good. Man was intended to be living in the light, not in the darkness. Some of you, how do you know that? If it wasn't that way, then why did even Satan himself have to dress up like an angel of light to talk to you? If he came with the horns and the pitchfork, you wouldn't listen to him too much. But if he came looking like a blunt, oh, now you listen. It's a reality, though. Let me tell you something. That reality and that decision to that reality has a consequence. And it has a destination to it. Because there are people that rather not think about death. Because they understand that the way that that they have been living. They know. I don't need to tell you. But you know exactly what the consequences are. We've all heard it. For the wages of sin is death. Sin has a consequence. Wait, let me not say this word because people might not like it. Yeah, there's a reality. Just like there's a heaven, there's a hell. It's a reality. For too long, the church has been trying to fix an internal problem externally. You want to get to the root of it? Get on the inside. The church has become like triathlons. Any people seen the Olympics when they got to do the running, the bikes, and the swimming? It's an endurance race. Just like the Christian life is. Just have life it, whether Christian or not is. It's an endurance race to see who endures to the end. For many start, but not all finish. Have you noticed that you can usually tell a rookie from a veteran on how halfway through the way they give them water so they can regain strength? Have you noticed that usually the rookies grab that water, throw it on their face? They throw it on their face. Why? Because they're heating up. They're hot. They're getting tired. So want the cold water in their face. Why? Because they want a temporary satisfaction from the heat that they're under. They want a temporary satisfaction from the exhaustion that they're in right now. They want a temporary satisfaction from the race that they're in. But what they don't understand is that as you run, your heart begins to pump faster. Your lungs begin to expand more. Last time I checked, that looks more like an internal problem than an external problem. The veterans grab the water and drink it. Why? Because it renews the internal organs. It revives and pumps them up with more life. Makes them regain energy. That is a permanent solution. And that's what the church has forgotten. Stop trying to deal with people externally, whether they like you or not. Tell them how things are clear cut. Tell them, I don't care what you look on the outside. I don't care if you're smoking. I don't care what you're doing. What we need to deal with is the internal problem. I don't care if you're smoking for a year and you still come to church. Grab your sin and take it to church. Say, but I don't want to go. You better shut up. You're coming to church today. Even if in your sin, because this is the only place that will be able to deal with your external problems, because the root of them is in the internal. It's a reality, guys. Death comes for us all. But it's whether you see that day with joy or not. For you know what will come afterwards. If you even doubt for the tiniest amount, even the smallest doubt, don't allow to leave these doors without knowing in the deepest parts of your heart, knowing that you know where you're going to spend eternity for. Eternity is a very long time. There is none righteous, no, not one. There is only one way. Name of Jesus. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. Nobody can come to the Father except through me. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you don't like how I preach. I don't care if you don't like this place. If you leave here, I don't care where you go after here. I don't care where you go home. I don't care what church you go to. But if you leave this place knowing where you're going, because you have accepted Jesus in your heart, I've done my job, man. God can take me right now. I'm fine. Because I know, even if I go, I will see you one day.